The emergency broadcast cut through every radio frequency, television channel, and digital display on Earth simultaneously. Dr. Sarah Chen was reviewing satellite data at the SETI Institute when her monitors erupted with patterns unlike anything humanity had ever recorded. The message repeated in perfect English, though no human had taught the sender our language. To the species of Sol 3, designation, Earth. We are the Collective, an alliance of civilizations spanning 3 galactic arms. We transmit with urgent purpose. Our worlds face extinction from an entity we name the Harbinger. It feeds on quantum technology, growing stronger with each advanced civilization it consumes. Our predictive models show your world possesses the unique properties we require. We plead for your aid, though we know the cost such aid may demand. The message continued, but Sarah had already grabbed her secure phone. Within hours, the UN Security Council convened an emergency session, and Sarah found herself presenting to world leaders who, for the first time in history, sat in complete unity. The signal originates from approximately 300 light-years away, Sarah explained, her hand steadied despite her racing heart. The Collective claims to have over 10,000 years of technological advancement beyond Earth, yet they're asking us for help. Help against what, exactly? The Chinese representative leaned forward, eyes sharp. Sarah brought up the Collective's transmitted data. They call it the Harbinger. It appeared 6 of their months ago, about 2 Earth years, in the Carina arm. It's not a conventional enemy. It's an entity that seems to feed on highly advanced technology, specifically quantum computing systems and zero-point energy generators. The more advanced the civilization, the more devastating its attack. And why, the Russian president asked, would such advanced beings need help from us? Sarah smiled. Because we're primitive, by their standards. The Harbinger ignores civilizations below a certain technological threshold. But there's more. She switched to a new diagram. The Collective detected unusual patterns in human brain activity during their long-range scans. Our neural architecture is different from every species they've encountered. They believe we might be naturally resistant to the Harbinger's influence. The room erupted in debate. Some nations wanted nothing to do with an alien war. Others saw opportunity in alien technology. A few worried this was a prelude to invasion. But as the arguments raged, a quiet voice cut through the chaos. Admiral Helena Reyes, commander of the UN Space Defense Force, stood. At 60, her dark hair had gone steel gray, but her presence silenced the room. With respect, she said, we're missing the point. Advanced aliens aren't asking for our technology or our resources. They're asking for our help against an enemy that threatens not just them, but potentially us as well. If the Harbinger consumes enough advanced civilizations, it will eventually turn its attention to developing worlds like Earth. We can wait for that day, or we can fight on our terms, with allies who need us. The Brazilian representative scoffed. Fight. With what? They're 10,000 years ahead of us. With what humanity does best, Helena replied. Adaptation, innovation, and most importantly, our stubborn refusal to give up even when the odds seem impossible. The Collective has technology we can barely imagine, but they've become dependent on it. They've forgotten how to fight without their quantum computers and AI strategic systems. We haven't. Sarah watched as Helena's words sank in. The Admiral was right. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, but its ability to persist, to find unconventional solutions, to keep fighting long past the point where logic said to surrender. The UN vote was unanimous. Earth would help. The Collective's response was immediate. Within days, ships appeared in orbit, massive vessels that dwarfed anything humanity had built. But they didn't come with weapons or advanced technology. Instead, they brought information and a warning. A Harbinger had changed course. It was coming to test humanity's resolve. As Sarah stood in the new Joint Species Command Center beneath the Himalayas, watching alien representatives work alongside human military strategists, she realized humanity had crossed a threshold. The galaxy had called for help, and Earth had answered. Now they would show the collective why humans were known for beating impossible odds. The first ships of Earth's defensive fleet were already under construction, deliberately designed with minimal advanced technology. The aliens had called them primitive. Soon, they would learn that primitive didn't mean ineffective. Humanity was about to teach the galaxy an important lesson about the power of simplicity, determination, and the unrelenting human spirit. Admiral Rice summed it up perfectly in her address to the first graduating class of Human-Alien Joint Forces. They came to us because we're different. Now we'll show them just how different we can be. The galaxy was about to learn why humanity had survived every catastrophe its harsh world had thrown at it. The Harbinger might feed on advanced technology, but it had never faced a species that thrived on overcoming impossible odds. The battle for survival was about to begin, and humanity was ready to fight in ways the advanced species had long forgotten. The collective's lead scientist, Hexrill, had never seen anything like it. The human test subject, Lieutenant Maya Patel, sat calmly in the neural scanning chamber, her brainwaves displaying patterns that defied everything the collective knew about sentient minds. Fascinating. Hexrill's crystalline form pulsed with blue light. Your species' neural pathways reconfigure themselves constantly. It's as if your minds are in a perpetual state of adaptation. Maya shrugged, adjusting her uniform after stepping out of the chamber. Isn't that normal? No. Hexrill's translation device conveyed amazement. Most species' brains are far more rigid. We evolve our technology instead of ourselves. But humans, you're still evolving, still changing. This is why the Harbinger cannot predict your actions. The discovery had come 3 weeks after Earth's agreement to help. The collective's preliminary scans had revealed something unprecedented. Human brains were chaotic in a way that disrupted the Harbinger's technological absorption abilities. Where other species thought in predictable patterns that the entity could analyze and counter, humans were constantly generating new neural pathways, creating solutions that defied conventional logic. Admiral Rice stood in the observation room above, watching the tests with Dr. Chen. So our greatest weapon isn't a weapon at all, she mused. It's our own unpredictability. More than that, Sarah replied, reviewing the data. The collective's archives show the Harbinger grows by assimilating the technological patterns of advanced civilizations. But human technology isn't advanced enough to assimilate. We're like a computer virus written in such old code that modern systems don't know how to process it. The Joint Species Command Center had become a hub of feverish activity. While the collective's ships maintained a defensive perimeter around Earth, human engineers worked alongside alien scientists to develop what they called retrograde weapons, deliberately simplify technology that could hurt the Harbinger without feeding it. In the main engineering bay, Chief Engineer Marcus Wome led a team combining human ingenuity with alien materials. They had stripped down collective energy weapons to their basic principles, rebuilding them with mechanical components and chemical propellants. The aliens were horrified at first, watching their elegant quantum technology being replaced with what they considered primitive mechanisms. "You're making them worse," protested Zenva, a senior collective weapons designer. Marcus grinned, hefting the modified rifle. "We're making them better. Your quantum rifles are impressive, but they're predictable. The Harbinger can analyze their energy signatures and adapt. But this," he patted the weapon, "this is messy, imperfect, and exactly what we need." The first field test proved Marcus right. A Harbinger probe had appeared at the edge of the solar system, testing Earth's defenses. The collective's advanced weapons passed harmlessly through its quantum shields. But when Maya led a strike team equipped with the modified weapons, their attacks connected. The probe retreated, unable to process or adapt to the deliberately primitive technology. Word spread through the collective fleet. More alien scientists arrived, eager to study the humans' reverse engineering approach. They watched in fascination as humans stripped away layers of technological advancement, finding strength in simplicity. Admiral Rice established the Hybrid Defense Initiative, combining human tactical thinking with collective resources. The Harbinger expects advanced solutions, she explained to the Joint Command. It expects quantum computing, AI warfare, and technological escalation. Instead, we'll give it humanity's greatest gift, the unexpected. The initiative's first major project was the conversion of Earth's naval submarines into space-worthy vessels. The collective's engineers were baffled by the proposal until they saw the results. The submarine's thick hulls and mechanical systems were naturally resistant to the Harbinger's technological disruption. With minimal modifications, they became the perfect stealth vessels for the coming war. But the greatest revelation came from an unexpected source. During a routine neural scan, Dr. Chen discovered that prolonged exposure to human brainwave patterns was affecting the collective's own neural structures. The aliens were beginning to think more flexibly, more creatively. They were learning to innovate in ways their rigid technological development had forgotten. "Your species is changing us," Xril admitted to Maya during another series of tests. "For millennia, we believed advancement meant moving forward, always seeking more complex solutions. You're teaching us that sometimes the path forward requires a step backward." As the Harbinger drew closer to Earth, humanity's preparation took on an almost festive atmosphere. Where the collective had expected fear, they found excitement. Humans were treating the impossible challenge like an opportunity to prove themselves. "We don't just think differently," Maya explained to Xril. "We feel differently too. Where you see certain doom, we see a chance to do something no one else has done. It's not just about survival. It's about showing the galaxy what humanity can do." The collective's leaders began to understand why their ancient predictive algorithms had directed them to Earth. They hadn't needed humanity's technology or resources. They had needed humanity's spirit, the chaotic, innovative, unbreakable will that had driven humans to explore, adapt, and overcome every challenge their harsh world had presented. As Earth's defensive fleet grew, combining simplified human engineering with collective materials, Admiral Rice received word that the Harbinger had increased its speed. It would reach Earth within months. "It senses something different about us," Sarah theorized. "We're not just another technological civilization waiting to be consumed. We're something it's never encountered before." "Good," Admiral Rice replied, watching Earth's first space submarine launch into orbit. "Let it come. It's about to learn why humanity has survived every catastrophe our world has thrown at us. We don't just adapt. We thrive on challenges that should be impossible." The galaxy was about to witness the power of human innovation, unleashed on a scale never before imagined. The Harbinger had evolved to consume the most advanced technology in existence, but it had never faced a species that could think backward to move forward, that could find strength in simplicity, and that saw impossible odds as a personal challenge. The real war was about to begin. The Harbinger arrived with the silence of a shadow, its vast form blotting out the stars behind Jupiter. Earth's combined fleet waited in formation, collective ships holding the outer defense line, while Earth's converted submarines and hybrid vessels maintained position closer to home. In the command center of the ESS Nautilus, formerly the U.S. Pennsylvania, Captain Marcus Wome watched the alien entity approach. "It's beautiful, in a terrifying way," he muttered, observing the shifting patterns of darkness that made up the Harbinger's form. The entity had grown enormous from consuming advanced civilizations, its mass now rivaling that of a small moon. "All stations, report readiness." Admiral Rice's voice came through the fleet-wide comm system. She commanded from the ESS Leviathan, Earth's first purpose-built retrograde battleship. The vessel looked crude compared to the collected ships, its hull a patchwork of thick armor plates and deliberately analog systems. The Harbinger made its first move exactly as Dr. Chen had predicted. Tendrils of quantum energy reached out, attempting to interface with and corrupt the advanced systems of the collected ships. The alien vessels retreated in perfect formation, executing the plan they had drilled for months. Phase 1 complete. Sarah's voice came through from the command center beneath the Himalayas. The entity is following expected behavioral patterns. It's attempting to process and absorb the collective's quantum technology. That's when humanity sprung its trap. While the Harbinger was focused on the retreating collective ships, Earth's fleet moved into attack position. The submarines, running on modified diesel-electric engines and mechanical systems, were practically invisible to an entity that hunted by sensing advanced technology. All vessels, execute Operation Throwback. Admiral Rice commanded. Remember your training. Keep it simple. Keep it unpredictable. Show this thing why humanity never learned to quit. The Nautilus fired first, launching a salvo of kinetic projectiles. Simple tungsten rods accelerated to incredible speeds by magnetic rails. The weapons were based on gravity-assist principles humanity had used since the early space age, enhanced with collective materials, but deliberately kept technologically simple. The Harbinger's defenses, designed to stop energy weapons and quantum attacks, couldn't properly register the primitive projectiles. The rods tore through its outer layer, causing the entity to recoil in what seemed like surprise. Direct hit. Maya's voice crackled through the comm from her position on one of the attack squadrons. The retrograde weapons are working. It can't adapt to what it can't digitally process. The entity's response was immediate and violent. It launched waves of quantum energy, attempting to corrupt and consume the attacking vessels. But the humans had prepared for this. Every ship in Earth's fleet ran on redundant systems, deliberately designed to be too simple to hack or absorb. It's like trying to infect a calculator with a computer virus, Sarah explained to the collective observers in the command center. Our systems are too basic for its advanced attacks to work. The battle evolved into a strange dance. The Harbinger, used to consuming and adapting to sophisticated technology, found itself unable to counter humanity's deliberately regressive approach. Each time it developed a defense against one type of attack, the humans would switch to something even more primitive. When quantum shielding stopped the kinetic projectiles, Marcus ordered his crew to launch modified depth charges, simple explosives enhanced with collective materials. When the entity adapted to those, Lieutenant Patel's squadron switched to spreading clouds of metallic chaff that disrupted the Harbinger's ability to sense technology. This is impossible, X-Rill communicated from a collective observation vessel. Your species is fighting a quantum entity with technology that predates spaceflight, and you're winning. The tide turned 3 hours into the battle. The Harbinger, frustrated by its inability to consume or counter Earth's primitive weapons, began to show signs of confusion. Its attacks became erratic, its responses slower. That's when Admiral Reyes gave the order for the collective's ships to return. Now it faces the combined might of human ingenuity and alien technology, she announced. All vessels, execute final phase. Show it why you never corner a species that treats impossible odds as a personal challenge. The collected ships, modified with human-inspired retrograde systems, joined Earth's fleet in a coordinated attack. Advanced quantum weapons fired alongside primitive kinetic projectiles. The Harbinger, unable to process the contradictory mixture of technologies, began to break apart. Its core structure is destabilizing, Sarah reported, monitoring the entity's deterioration. The combination of advanced and primitive attacks is creating a cascading failure in its absorption systems. It's like trying to run incompatible programs simultaneously. The whole system crashes. The entity's final moments were spectacular. As its quantum structure collapsed, it released a burst of energy that lit up the solar system like a second sun. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the Harbinger dissolved into scattered particles, its consciousness unable to maintain coherence against an enemy it couldn't predict or consume. In the aftermath, as Earth's fleet regrouped and damage reports came in, Admiral Reyes addressed the combined forces. Today we proved something that humanity has always known. The most sophisticated solution isn't always the best one. Sometimes victory comes from remembering our roots, from being willing to step backward to move forward. The collective's representatives were silent, processing what they had witnessed. Their most advanced weapons and defenses had failed against the Harbinger, yet humanity had defeated it with technology that their civilization had considered obsolete millennia ago. "We did it the human way," Marcus transmitted from the Nautilus. "We looked at an impossible problem and solved it by thinking differently. That's what humanity does best." The victory would change more than just the immediate future. As the fleet began its return journey to Earth, the collective's leaders were already discussing the implications. Humanity had shown them that true advancement wasn't always about moving forward. Sometimes the greatest innovations came from remembering what had been left behind. The galaxy was about to enter a new age, one where the wisdom of the past would guide the technology of the future. And humanity, the species that had defeated an unstoppable enemy with primitive weapons, would lead the way. Victory had come at a cost. As the combined fleet conducted rescue operations around Jupiter's orbit, the true price of humanity's first major space battle became clear. Though they had defeated the Harbinger, the entity had not gone quietly into the void. In the medical bay of the Leviathan, Dr. Sarah Chen studied the readings from affected crew members. The Harbinger's death throes had released something unexpected: quantum echoes that interfered with human neural patterns. The same unique brain structure that had made humans resistant to the entity's influence now made them vulnerable to its death curse. "It's like a final act of spite," Sarah explained to Admiral Reyes, who stood by Lieutenant Maya Patel's bedside. The young officer lay unconscious, her mind struggling against the quantum interference. "The Harbinger couldn't process our neural patterns in life, so it poisoned them in death." The collective's medical experts were baffled. Their advanced healing technologies, designed for stable neural patterns, proved ineffective against the chaotic disruption in human minds. Once again, humanity would have to find its own solution. "There's something else." Hexril's crystalline form dimmed with concern as they reviewed long-range scans. "The Harbinger we destroyed. It was not alone. Our sensors detect similar entities forming in other galaxies. This victory may have been just the beginning." In the weeks that followed, Earth transformed. The planet became a strange hybrid of primitive and advanced technology, as humanity worked to balance the need for progress with the proven effectiveness of simplified systems. The United Nations expanded into the United Planets Council as lunar and Martian colonies gained representation. Captain Marcus Wome, now leading the reverse engineering division, made a breakthrough while studying the quantum echoes affecting the injured crew members. "We've been thinking about this wrong," he announced during an emergency session of the Joint Command. "We can't cure the quantum interference because we're trying to use technology to fix it. But what if we let human adaptability do what it does best?" His theory was radical but quintessentially human. Instead of fighting the quantum echoes, they would help the affected crew members adapt to them. The human brain's natural plasticity, the very trait that had made them valuable against the Harbinger, might allow them to integrate the quantum interference into new neural pathways. The first trials were conducted with volunteers from the Nautilus crew. They used modified versions of Earth's earliest biofeedback machines, deliberately simple devices that helped patients visualize and influence their own brain activity. The collective observers were skeptical until the results began showing success. "Your species continues to confound our understanding," Xril admitted, watching as Maya finally opened her eyes after weeks of treatment. "You don't solve problems, you evolve past them." But even as the injured began to recover, the larger threat loomed. Long-range probes detected more Harbinger-like entities forming in distant galaxies. The quantum echoes from their fallen sibling had spread like spores, seeding new threats across the cosmos. Admiral Rice stood before the United Planets Council, her uniform still bearing the scars from the Jupiter battle. "We won our first engagement, but the war is far from over. The galaxy needs humanity more than ever. Not just our tactics or our simplified technology, but our fundamental nature, our ability to adapt, to think differently, to find strength in adversity." The council chamber erupted in debate. Some argued for isolation, for focusing on defending Earth. Others pushed for aggressive expansion, taking the fight to the emerging threats. The discussion raged until Dr. Chen stepped forward with new data. The quantum echoes aren't just affecting our injured, she revealed. They're changing all of us, subtly but significantly. Each human exposed to them develops enhanced neural plasticity. We're not just adapting to the echoes, we're evolving because of them. The implications were staggering. The Harbinger's final attack hadn't just been a curse, it had accidentally accelerated human neural evolution. The recovered crew members showed increased creativity, stronger problem-solving abilities, and most importantly, an enhanced capacity for understanding advanced technology without losing their uniquely human traits. This is why the Ancient Ones guided us to Earth, Xrill realized. They knew that humanity wouldn't just fight the Harbinger. They would evolve because of it. Each challenge makes your species stronger. As the United Planets Council debated humanity's next move, Admiral Reyes met privately with the Joint Fleet commanders. Maya, now recovered and showing enhanced abilities, had been promoted to lead the first human collective hybrid training program. Marcus's reverse engineering principles were being adapted into a new field of technological development called retrograde innovation. We've proved that humanity can face impossible odds and emerge stronger, Reyes addressed her officers. But our greatest challenge lies ahead. We must prepare not just to fight more Harbingers, but to help the galaxy remember what we've never forgotten. That true strength comes not from running from challenges, but from facing them head-on. The quantum echoes continue to spread, touching more human minds, accelerating their evolution. But unlike the rigid, predictable advancement of the collective's technology, human evolution remained chaotic, unpredictable, and uniquely resilient. Each person adapted differently, ensuring that humanity would remain an ever-changing, ever-evolving force in the galaxy. The price of victory had been high, but it had given humanity something unprecedented, a chance to help shape the future of galactic civilization. As Earth's fleet began to expand, incorporating both simplified technology and carefully chosen advanced systems, the galaxy watched in fascination. The species that had defeated the Harbinger with primitive weapons was evolving into something entirely new, a bridge between the old ways and the new, between simplicity and advancement, between chaos and order. The war for survival had become a war for the future of all species, and humanity was ready to lead the way. 5 years after the Battle of Jupiter, Earth had become the center of a galactic renaissance. The collective's mighty ships still dwarfed human vessels in size, but now they incorporated what had become known as human pattern engineering. Deliberate simplification combined with strategic advancement. The results transformed galactic society in ways no one had predicted. Admiral Helena Reyes, now serving as Earth's representative to the Galactic Defense Council, stood at a viewport in humanity's first deep space station, watching ships from 100 worlds move through the traffic lanes. Some were sleek with advanced technology, others deliberately retrograded, each finding their own balance between progress and simplicity. The fourth Harbinger manifestation has been contained, Maya reported, her neural enhancements giving her eyes a subtle glow. Now Commander Patel, she led the hybrid response fleet, teaching other species how to combine human unpredictability with their native technologies. The Centauri Defense Force used our methods. Minimal casualties, complete victory. And the quantum echoes? Helena asked, though she already knew the answer. Every engagement with a Harbinger entity left its mark on the defending species, just as the first battle had marked humanity. Spreading, but not like before. Dr. Chen's protocols are working. The affected populations are adapting, evolving, each species in its own way. That had been the most surprising discovery. The quantum echoes didn't force uniformity. They enhanced what was already there. Humans became more adaptable. The crystalline Xrill developed deeper emotional resonance. The gas form Zenva gained physical persistence. Each species grew stronger by becoming more distinctly themselves. In the research centrum beneath Mount Kilimanjaro, Dr. Sarah Chen, an Xrill, led the largest cynobiological study in history. The facility had become a symbol of human-alien cooperation, its laboratories combining Earth's earliest scientific instruments with the collective's most advanced sensors. "It's beautiful," Sarah said, reviewing the latest data. "We thought the Harbingers were destroying advanced civilization, but they were catalysts for something greater. Each defeat seeds new growth, new combinations of old and new. Your species taught us that true advancement isn't always forward." Xril's crystalline form shimmered with newfound emotional depth. "Sometimes the path forward is a spiral, returning to old wisdom to find new strength." Captain Marcus Wome, overseeing the construction of Earth's second deep space station, had turned his reverse engineering principles into a galactic movement. The Wome doctrine of technological development now influenced everything from shipbuilding to civilian infrastructure. His motto, "Simple enough to work, advanced enough to matter," had become a guiding principle for a new age. "We're building something unprecedented," he explained to a group of alien engineers. "Not just stations or ships, but a new way of thinking about progress. The Harbingers forced us to remember what we've forgotten. That technology should serve life, not define it." The United Planets Council had expanded into an interstellar assembly as human colonies spread through nearby systems. But unlike the collective's uniform worlds, each human settlement developed its own unique blend of old and new technology. Some pushed the boundaries of advancement, others maintained deliberate simplicity, creating a diversity that made humanity's sphere of influence remarkably resistant to external threats. "They're calling it the human revolution," Admiral Reyes remarked during a private meeting with her original command staff. "Though I think Renaissance is more accurate. We're not overturning the old way. We're helping the galaxy remember what it knew but had forgotten." The Harbinger entities continued to manifest, but each emergence was met with increasing success. The combined fleets of Earth and the collective had evolved into an adaptive force, using everything from retrofitted wooden sailing ships in space to quantum-enhanced vessels. The diversity of approaches proved to be the key to victory, just as the diversity of life had always been Earth's greatest strength. But humanity's greatest contribution wasn't military or technological. It was philosophical. The species that had been called primitive had taught the galaxy that true strength comes not from reaching a peak and staying there, but from remaining flexible, adaptable, and willing to learn from both past and present. In the newly established Galactic Academy of Sciences, a unique monument stood in the central courtyard. It was a simple mechanical clock, built with wooden gears and metal springs, keeping perfect time alongside the most advanced chronometers in known space. Its inscription, written in every known language, read, "Progress is not a straight line. Wisdom flows both ways." As humanity's influence spread, the galaxy entered a new golden age. The Harbinger entities, meant to be harbingers of doom, had instead become harbingers of change. Each encounter forced civilizations to re-examine their assumptions, to find strength in simplicity, and to remember that the most powerful force in the universe wasn't technology or advancement. It was the will to adapt, to persist, and to face challenges head-on. Admiral Reyes, in her final address before retiring from active service, summed up humanity's journey. "We were called primitive, and we embraced it. We were called simple, and we showed the power of simplicity. We were called unpredictable, and we proved that unpredictability is the greatest defense against stagnation. We didn't just survive first contact. We helped transform it into a new beginning for all species." Earth, once considered a backwater world, had become a beacon for a new kind of civilization, one that honored both progress and tradition, that found strength in diversity, and that faced the future not with fear of the unknown, but with the unshakable human spirit that had carried the species from stone tools to the stars. The simple species had changed the galaxy not by becoming more advanced, but by helping everyone remember the power of remaining true to themselves. In the end, that was humanity's greatest gift to the cosmos. The reminder that the path forward sometimes requires a step back, and that the strongest civilizations are those that never forget where they came from.